Viewers, welcome to tonight's program on Imani na Waumini. We want to discuss tonight the issue of Christianity and dowries. And we want to make a disclaimer in this particular matter. We are confined to Christianity and dowries and the issue of dowries in the Kikuyu culture. So we may not be conversant with other cultures, but we know that there are some cultural dynamics that need to be considered when you are discussing this particular topic. For instance, some cultures, dowry is actually paid by the women when they are getting married, especially the Indian culture. And when you look at the dictionary definition of the word dowry, it seems to borrow from the Indian culture, a woman paying something to the parents of the man that is to marry her. So we are tonight confined to Christianity and dowries within the Kikuyu culture. Maybe in the future we have a part 2 on dowries in other cultures, and also dowries from a woman's point of view. But for tonight we have two able panelists, the Reverend Patrick Mudhongo of PCA Tumaini in Utawala.
Yes.
You almost said Utawala in Tumaini.
Yes,
and
yes.
the Reverend Mijire Kagwaba of Nyadona Parish. Welcome, gentlemen, to the program tonight. So we are on this topic. But I think before we venture into the topic fully, we need to speak into the legality of marriage as a union versus the issue of dowries. Because this is something that members need to understand.
Sure.
Is dowry a prerequisite to marriage? Legally?
Okay, yeah, thank you, viewers. Just like Dr. said, my name is Patrick Mudhongo. And I would say that when you talk about marriage, marriage is one of the rites of passage, where could be we have a birth, we have also the initiation, and also when it comes to the issue of marriage, and then the issue of burial. So it's one of the rites of passage. And just to answer to your question, is that dowry is not a must that a marriage union will become legal because dowry has been paid. This is because we see that marriage has to happen. It's very biblical, where now we see that God started this at the Garden of Eden, where he saw that it was not good for man to be alone, and that is how he created the woman for him. So though I'm going to speak about how dowry might come in that aspect, I would say that it's not a must that at least dowry is paid so that a marriage can become legal. Yeah.
According to the laws of Kenya, definitely.
Yes.
You have the same opinion.
Yes, I quite concur that dowry is not a prerequisite for a marriage union. A marriage union is for consenting two adults, male and female, who to me must come into the union with clean hands, with no one taking advantage over the other. Because the union is different from partnership. Just the same way Zanzibar and Tanganyika combined to become Tanzania, and none swallowed the other, each came and feel that they are part and parcel of that larger union. So the marriage union is for mutual benefit of both the husband and wife, and also their parents. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And viewers, I must say that tonight we have two gentlemen who are on different sides of this discussion. One of them believes that dowry is right to pay. The other one feels that no. So I want us to venture into that topic, listening to Reverend Mijire, who is against, and Reverend Mudhongo, who is for it. So let us also now ask ourselves about the genesis of dowries. Where did it start?
I would say that for me, that dowry is biblical.
Okay.
And I'll quote some part of the scripture. One, I want to quote from the the book of Genesis, that is chapter number 34 and verse 12, where the Bible says that make the price for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me, only give me the young woman as my wife.
Okay.
So that is very biblical, though it is coming from a Jewish kind of tradition. And also we saw that even for Jacob, when he went to his uncle, he had to labor for his wife, for his two wives. Actually, he labored for 14 years to get both. So that was a way of paying for dowry. And so we see then that there is some kind of biblical kind of a basis of this. And I would also want to take you back and say that back in the Garden of Eden, just like I said there before, we see that there is Adam. Adam was, when he was created by God, God had, from that theory of creation, we see God had to make him asleep. And then he had to remove something from Adam. That's something, that is the rib. Could be, I would say that is a way of paying the dowry.
I like that.
So,
Must have been very painful dowry.
very painful. And also, we see Jesus Christ. In fact, the church is considered as a bride of Christ. Jesus Christ had also to pay dowry. Because he had to die for this bride. Actually, if you look at the book of Revelation, you see that there is a New Jerusalem, and Jesus Christ is coming to take the bride as the husband of that bride. After doing what? After paying for that dowry through his death on the cross. He died for the church. So for me, theologically speaking, it might not be explicit, but I see like it was a way of paying the
You
dowry.
are arguing like a theologian.
Well, my take is that dowry is a cultural hangover,
Yes.
which Christians have taken out of context. My colleague here is putting those two texts out of context. Because Exodus 22, verse 16 to 17, and also Genesis 34, verse 12, is a deterrent of a sexual abuser who is to pay the bride price. Actually, it is on a negative connotation. There is nothing positive about bride price or dowry. So to me, there is no biblical basis for dowry that we can refer to. Yes.
But he has quoted the Bible, although he was...
Out of context.
No.
No,
He was very quick to add that is a Jewish cultural context. So it's in the Bible, where the culture of the Jews. But now you're talking, let's come into the Kikuyu culture.
No, before we exit
Okay.
that point, you see, here are gentlemen who are abusing some brides, and they are made to pay the price. That is where bride price comes from. It is not a good upright man who goes to a lady or to the family to ask for a union. So when you cannot refer to a criminal, what a criminal is supposed to pay as a fine, as a basis. Now, when you come to Jesus Christ paying our price, 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 18 says, "For you know that it was not with perishable things, such as silver or gold, that you are redeemed from empty way of life, handed down unto you from your forefathers." What we are talking about dowry, it is empty way of life, which has been handed down to us by our forefathers. But it is not according to the will of God. Because God made us equal, men and women. There is no one who is subservient to the other. So when you introduce the question of dowry, then it means someone is more elevated And the other one is a servant. Yes.
I can't let him escape with that. Because, okay, yes, I'll agree. When you talk about Exodus 22 and verse 16 and 17, this is where it says that if a man seduces a virgin who is not pledged to be married and sleep with her, he must pay the bride price, and she shall be his wife. Now, for that, it would be a penalty. I would agree. But what would you say when it is God himself who, just like I said, who is instituting it? That is in the case of Adam. Or even in a situation where we have Jacob having to labor because he loved this person. Or even where Genesis 34 and verse 12, where this man is saying, ask me for any price. He's not saying that he is going to pay the price because he had already committed that sin, but it's because he wanted this wife, this person. Look at what he is saying, that whatever you ask me, only give me the young woman to be my wife. So it is like it was a tradition. That is what they used to do to pay the dowry. And more so, when we talk about Jesus Christ, in fact, even going back to John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever, which in this case means the church, should not perish, but have eternal life. So in this sense, for me, I see like a very strong basis for dowry.
You see, for Jacob to labor for that period of time, it was not the norm. It is because Jacob was a deceiver. So he was getting the price of his own medicine. So that he should know when you deceive others, you also be deceived. So we cannot take it as a biblical basis, as a norm, because it was being meted to a person who was a deceiver. Now, when it comes to creation story, alluding that God taking the leave out of Adam to create Eve, to me I think that is far-fetched. It is not alludable. You cannot believe it that way.
It does not follow the canon.
It doesn't. And also, Jesus Christ paid the price. That we all agree. And that led us any other price meaningless. It has no basis. Because if Jesus paid the price for us, what else are you paying in form of bride price or dowry? It is not there.
But you're not marrying the church.
No, it is an example or a symbolism. So if we have been cleansed, bought with a price which is not perishable, therefore we should not think of any human being buying another human being.
Now, let's come closer home to us as Christians and in the current dispensation as Kikuyus. We have often said as theologians that the missionaries brought to us a gospel that is wrapped in Western culture. And so we have this conflicted kind of Christian practice in terms of the fact that we have the Western culture and we have our own Kikuyu culture if we are to deal with the Kikuyus. Let's speak, and the whole concept of dowries as a cultural component, right? You said about the Jewish culture. Let's now ask ourselves about the genesis of dowry payment within our Kikuyu culture, to the extent that we can be able to understand it.
That's true. I would say that, yes, you said it very well, that, we don't have something like a Christian culture. Christian is a religion, is a faith. And so when, and I would like to take you back and say that this Christianity, it started in Palestine, where now it had also to move to the Caucasian world. It has also to come to Africa. It's like it's taking a full circle. And we see that as it goes around, it collected some kind of cultural wrappings. Such that when the missionaries brought this to us, they brought it now wrapped up in that culture. And one of the things that they brought in, together with that culture, is what I would call capitalism. And I would say that could be what we have embraced, and I think what we should be kind of interrogating here. That is, we need to unwrap that so that our way of life as the Kikuyus remain kind of intact. Because in my view, is that a God is God of community. And being a God of community, whatever we bind here is bound in heaven. And this cultural way of paying dowry, actually it had a lot of benefits and values to the Kikuyu people. And something that could be, we should interrogate in this show so that our viewers can learn and try to disabuse whatever could be thinking my brother is having, that paying dowry is evil. For me, it's not evil. It is part of our culture. It is our way of life. Could be something that could be blended with our Christianity to make it meaningful to the African Christian.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No. The whole question of dowry comes from the premise that the family of the bride is losing. Because in the cultural setup, labor was equal to wealth. So the more children you have, the more labor you are able to turn into wealth. And therefore, a bride or a lady being married, it meant that that labor is being deployed from you. And also the children that this lady will bear will produce more labor to the family of the husband. That is where the issue of bride's price and the process of paying that bride price, which is the dowry, came in. But you see now, from the Christian perspective, is that marriage is a union, mutual union for the good of all. So there is no question of loss. No one is losing. The family of the young man is getting a daughter. The family of the daughter is getting a young man. So the question of loss is out. Also, when it comes to labor, we are no longer in the agrarian age, where you say we are taking this young woman to be drawing water for us. That doesn't happen because most of us are living in urban areas. So actually, even the question of drawing water is I'm the one who pays the bills. So actually, I'm the one drawing the water. So the question of paying bride price because this daughter is coming to draw water for me does not arise. And also, when this young woman is paid for, the question of human life comes in. Because how does a human being own another human being? How do you lose your identity simply because you have been married? Is that a union? Or
Subjectivity.
is it subjectivity? Therefore, as long as we talk of Christianity in its true sense, and also we should not say that Christianity is not a culture, because culture is not static.
Yes.
Culture is developed. When a group of people practicing a certain faith for a period of time, they form their own culture. So Christian should evolve as a culture, the way we do our things, the way we talk, the values that we have, because that is what is culture. So Christians should have culture that informs them how they conduct marriages of their daughters and their sons. Yes.
But these what she's calling the Christian culture is not found on nothing. It's not founded on nothing. Look at even the the Christianity that we read from the Bible, the scriptures, there is a lot of these kind of Jewish culture within it. When Jesus Christ says, I'm the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser, what is he saying? He is using a bit of the Jewish culture, because they're the people who used to grow vines. So could be to an African, that does not have any meaning. Because when you talk to an African Christian about a vine, you better talk about a coffee tree.
It's the raw material for wine.
It's a raw material for wine, but at least we do not grow this. Like for example, there is a lot also, I just want to kind of correct where he says that Christianity is a culture. Like for example, there is whatever happens in wedding. To me, when these are white gowns and even cakes in wedding, they have no meaning to an African person. I better bring some kind of ugali to or something that at least I will be able to relate with as an African. So in this case, then I would still insist that Christianity is not a culture, but any religion finds its place within a certain culture. And it's like my brother does not appreciate the issue of what we call inculturation, where could be we need to remove the bit of the wrappings of the Western culture, and could be wrap the Christianity with the African culture so that it can be meaningful to this African person. In St. Paul's, I read a small book in the St. Paul Library called Kuafrika kwa Mkristo na kukristika kwa Mwafrika. This is the whole issue about inculturation. And this is what we need to do. We don't need to throw the baby with the bathwater by saying that we do away with whatever we find like our values. Because for me, paying dowry, it's a way of a man honoring a woman that he intends to marry. Paying dowry is a way to determine the worthiness of a woman to a man. It is also a way of appreciating. And he says that they are about the marriage union. And the Bible says it very clearly that the man is the head of the family. The man is the prophet. The man is the priest. The man is the one who takes that charge of it gives direction, Christian direction to that particular home. So the more the reason as to why he needs at least to kind of pay dowry, so that at least he can be seen like he is the owner of that particular home.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think the whole concept of dowry payment may have emanated from this Western wrapping of the Christian gospel?
No, before I come to that, every faith has its fundamentals. And Christianity did not take everything from Judaism. And actually the parting shot, or where Jesus differed with the Jews, is because he refused to be party to practicing some cultural beliefs and cultural practices. And therefore, any Christian must have clear-cut boundary. This is not for us, because it does not conform with the Bible, because we have been transformed with the renewing of our minds. We are no longer the same Kikuyus that we used to be, because what was the work of Jesus Christ on the cross? Was to bring a new generation, a new creation of people who are not bound. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So when we come to Christianity, we don't come with any baggage. We come free to practice equality, men and women, as Jesus loved the church and died for it. So not only did he give material things, because to him it was sacrificial. He sacrificed. So if I'm sacrificing for my wife, so the question of a price does not arise, because it is beyond the price. Giving direction, each comes with his or her strength, and they are for the mutual benefit. But when it comes now that one is the one who has paid the price, and the one has been paid for, therefore they don't come as a union where they become one. They become as a servant and a master. Yes.
So do you think the issue of dowry payment is a foreign concept?
I think it is a cultural concept.
Okay.
Because the West, they don't pay dowry.
Okay.
They just give gifts. To me, that's more Christianity than our cultural practice. Because if your daughter is being married by my son, I come with gifts. The same way when you are coming to my home, you come with the gifts. There is no attachment. There is no obligation that makes you feel indebted. That before I pay this amount, I have not done it the proper way. Because gifts, they come from the thought that you have about the person who you are giving the gifts. But the bride price comes with all aspects of a market.
Okay.
Now, I think...
And I think you alluded to that when you talked about the capitalistic tendencies.
Exactly.
That's why I was asking whether it's a foreign concept.
Actually, I would say that, yes, dowry is not a foreign concept. And there is something that is said that the West do not pay dowry. But if you read closely, you'll find that they used to. Actually, for the European, the Caucasian, it has been... There's a time that the woman was paying the dowry, just like the Indian aspect. There's a time that the man was paying to what now we have today, where they just give gifts. And could be we should have started is to define what is dowry, because even the gifts that he's talking about, it could be dowry. Could be we just need to ask ourselves, for the sake of this discussion. How are we defining? How do we define dowry? And I would say that dowry is anything that is given by, could be the family of the groom to the family of the bride.
That is within the Kikuyu culture.
Within the Kikuyu culture, yes. And if we define it now, we give it that definition. Then even what he's saying, if there are any gifts to be given, then that still be culture, because a gift can be anything. Like for example, the Kikuyus, they would talk about the 99 goats. The kedam, is it the kedamuyur was something. That's what they need. It could be a gift.
Yes.
And if it is a gift, then and our definition is anything that is given by the groom or the groom family to the bride family, then I think we'll be talking about the same thing. Yes.
But by the way, in the American system, the bridegroom's family caters for the entire wedding ceremony. So that's a cost. But let me ask you a very direct question.
No. Okay. I want to add something to what he said.
Yes.
You cannot talk of a bride price and gifts in the same breath.
Yes.
Because bride price is defined. You have to bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But gifts, you just freely give what you have. And there is no debt.
Yes.
But bride price, you have given this. This remains. Yes. So you cannot talk of bride price and gifts in the same breath.
Can I make this one clear?
Yes.
That yes, the term dowry and bride price have been used interchangeably. But
And negotiations.
and negotiations, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think from now, whatever I read in the Bible, I see like there is a difference between the two. Where now there is one where you are paying as a penalty. Like, for example, in the case of Exodus, that is 22 and verse 16 and 17, and there is a situation where somebody just gives willingly. Like, for example, in certain cases where we have Jacob, when he works for these 2 wives, that is for 14 years. So, so when you talk about bride price and dowry, I think there could be a slight difference between the two, because dowry could be a bit wider, which encompasses even the gift as he's talking about. So, and when you look at it now from the Kikuyu, because we said we confine ourselves to the Kikuyu, the paying of the dowry in the Kikuyu setup was very, very lenient, because goat is what they were. In fact, it was a way of even maintaining that marriage union. Like if somebody would paraphrase this for me, they say, so it's like a place that you'd go just to maintain that kind of, because these are 2 families that have come together, and you like to maintain that kind of marriage union. And the marriage union is not just between the man and the wife, but it is extended to the rest of the family. And in what you call the African socialism, where now talking about, I'm separating it now from the Western, you see that this is the way that the Africans wanted to live, that these are 2 families that have come together. It is like this family that has been extended. And so as a way of keeping you to go and see how could be the in-laws are, at least whenever you go, you'll go with something. And you are not even told that you have to pay this so that you can get this, but at least unaendelea mpaka hata kuna wengi ambao wamekufa kabla hawajamaliza kulipa hiyo mahari, because it's not a price. It's not like you'd go to the shop and you say, I want that bread. How much does it cost? It is 65 shillings. And if you don't have the 65 shillings, you don't get the bread. That is not the case, because it was our way of life. That's how I would look at it. It's not a bride price as he would like to put it.
Do you concur?
No, not exactly, because to me the whole process of dowry is you go to a certain family where your son is getting a wife, and you are told there are conditions you must meet, which are clearly laid down. You bring this, you bring that, you bring that, which is sealed with a cutting of the shoulder. Yeah. So when you do that ceremony, now it means you have actually met the conditions, prerequisite for a Kikuyu man to claim that he has legally taken a wife. Now, you have also known some cases of where this union fails to work. So the man and woman can no longer, they become incompatible. And because the man had paid some price, now there is a process of repayment.
Returning the goats.
Returning the no. You see, so when you just say that it is just cementing, but you see, if there were no conditions, it becomes this. I don't say that being incompatible is the norm, but we must agree it do happen. But instead of this tango that we paid this, you must return this. Now it bruises the whole family even more, because it actually creates some enmity. But if whatever they had given was free gifts, there is nothing to return, because it is giving out of mutual agreement. So as Christians, anything that binds you to an extent of making you indebted, other than the blood of Jesus Christ, to me, I think it's something to do away with.
Okay.
I think I would like to just correct my brother here and say that it is not, the dowry is not the problem, but the how of doing it.
Okay. Can you hold on to that?
Yes.
We need to take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
And then continue the conversation after the
Okay.
break.
Okay.
Because we are running out of time for the first half.
Okay.
So viewers, we will continue this conversation after the break. Keep tuned in and asking your questions. I'm following what you're saying here in the Mtandao on CAC TV Kenya, in Facebook and on YouTube. God bless.
Start your day with inspiration and purpose. An opportunity to ignite your spirit, uplift your soul, and set the tone for a fulfilling day.
To rely on God and to wait on God, to trust in God, and never to waver, never to be shaken by what is happening around.
We invite you to embark on this sacred journey through inspiring sermons, prayers, and hymns.
What has been taken away from us, He is ready to lift us to another level. As we talk about the Lord's restoration, He is ready to repair.
Let it be your guiding light, leading you towards a deeper connection with your spirituality.
What matters is you don't go back one, you go forward, and you receive your mountain.
Tune in to the morning devotion, starting from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on CAC TV Signet and live on Facebook and YouTube at CAC TV Kenya.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on CAC TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader.
Welcome back, viewers, as we continue this conversation on Christianity and dowries. And I want to qualify that by saying, in the Kikuyu culture. So welcome back. And now, let me ask you, Reverend Nijire, a very direct question.
Yes.
Presuming, and I believe you have a daughter, and your daughter gets a sweeter,
Yes.
and your future son-in-law comes in and says, I want to pay dowry. Would you stretch your hands to receive?
I would be categorical and tell him we have nothing to sell here. Because my conscience will not allow me to take a price for my daughter. I think it is dehumanizing to my daughter. So we'll just agree if the young man is truly in love with my daughter and he will take proper care over her. I don't need anything. Maybe let alone when they have to bring gifts, but no attachment, no negotiations about you have to bring this, you have to bring this. That's my style.
Okay.
Okay. Let me say this, that, and this is what I was saying before the break, that the how, and you hear Reverend Minjire always talking about gifts. He has no problem with the gifts, but he has every problem with the dowry. And I said before the break that it is the how of doing it. And from the beginning I said that there is an aspect of that Western culture that has infiltrated our culture, and when it comes to the issue of dowry, where now capitalism has set in, and what has happened is the commercialization of the dowry system in the Kikuyu culture. And being Kikuyu, we know Kikuyu, we are also very capitalistic, and it's like we have been able to embrace that. And this is where now you see somebody saying that my daughter is worth this. This is because of the input, whatever I've put there in terms of educating her. Could be she has a job and all that. There are also those others that look at what is that family able to pay? And then they are able now to commercialize the whole thing. For me, commercialization is the problem. And I think Reverend Minjira is agreeing with me because he has no problem with the gifts. And this is why I'm saying that for our viewers, we would say that let us not, just like I said there before, throw the baby with the bathwater. This is a very important value, cultural value that we should not lose because of what I said. It keeps the family together. It validates that kind of marriage. Because if something kitu cha bure ni bure, when you're just given without anything, at least I see the value of my wife when I saw that at least there is something that I paid for. And that's why I would say that let's remove the commercial aspect of the dowry, and then we'll be home and dry.
So let's speak into the whole concept of commercialization that is happening nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think it's, from a Christian standpoint, is it being overdone?
You know, when we attach value to material things, we get it wrong. When my brother says that a wife will feel that he has value because something has been paid for her, to me, a human being has no price. And therefore, a human being is already validated by being created in the image and likeness of God. And now, therefore, bride price or dowry will have no place to cement the union. Because even if your daughter is educated, she's not coming to educate my son. So you should not claim my daughter is educated. Is she coming to educate my son?
and that we agreed.
Doesn't. So they are coming as partners, as one thing, one union. Also, you know, I think to most, I don't know, we'll have to, when you conduct an interview with the ladies, they will say, because for example, this is a lady, maybe a professional woman, well educated, well endowed with material things, able even to acquire millions. And this young man is coming with a few thousands to claim that he has paid dowry for this young lady. Is that not an abuse? Because in the first place, I have more value than what you are claiming to pay for me. So we should remove the whole material aspect. Materialism, actually it is not Western. Greed comes out of materialism. When you think is what you have is what makes you who you are. So when you don't have it, then you are nobody. Yes. So when we think that our wives or our daughters, we feel they have more value because something has been paid. To me, it should be out of question.
Two things.
Somebody is saying here, you are contradicting yourself, Reverend Imani.
Where?
If you don't want dowries, even a gift don't.
Now, let me put it very clearly.
Yes.
Now, there are friends of mine, particularly when I go to a new parish. There are people who can offer me lunch and I refuse. Because I look at the motive that they have.
Okay.
And I see they have something behind that they want to capitalize out of this lunch. Therefore, I refuse. But the others, I see, this person is coming with a clean heart. So even receiving whatever this person brings, to me, my conscience has no problem.
Okay.
So gifts are not the same. For example, if you take something to a person because there are people who are crooked somewhere in the church, before they were preparing for a fundraiser, they would target them some potential guest of honor and go to them with a heavy shopping so that they feel indebted. You know, gifts, you should give, what you give me, you never count because it was not for return. It was not for reference. You gave it to me because of my friendship with you. So gifts, what I'm talking about is you don't bring them when you are taking my daughter. If you bring them afterwards, and there is nothing attached to them, they are gifts, they are freely received.
Okay.
And I also do the same when I visit my in-laws. I also go with the gifts. So it is two-way. None will feel that is indebted because of what they have given. Yes.
I think when you say that the commercialization and the capitalism aspect of dowry is not Western, this I disagree with you, because we know very well that the African culture is based on Ubuntu. That is where it is I am because we are. And we see that there is also what you call the African socialism, where now we, as Africans, we mind each other. And there should be no aspect of exploitation. And this is how the whole aspect of dowry came up. That the only thing was to keep this marriage union intact, and to at least have the reason as to why to visit. And this is why I say that dowry does not end. The fact that I do not finish paying my dowry, of what he's saying, the Kurega, Ked and all that, does not mean that my wife will be taken back from me unless she runs away. So in this aspect, when we then talk about and this is why I said it's about the how, and we'd like to get back now to the 99 goats. These 99 goats, the commercialization bit of it comes. Like for example, if you go to the 99 will still remain, but the value for the goat is what is bringing all the difference. That is after these negotiators looks at you, and now from a business point of view, they'll see this one is capable of paying this, so they'll tell you that a goat is 10,000, whereas could be the market value for that goat could be less. So this is why then I say that if we agree that dowry and gifts are acceptable in this discussion, as Reverend Kagwamba is saying, then let us, to help our viewers, get to kind of understand this form of dowry. How should it be paid?
Okay.
The how for me is the issue.
The issue.
Yes.
Somebody is inboxing me and asking me to ask Reverend Vijire,
Yes.
have you paid dowry for your wife?
I don't want to categorically say in this forum, because what I do does not necessarily validate
Yes.
the whole issue because we are being objective.
Yes.
When we try to make goods what is not biblical, no matter how much we try to sugarcoat it,
Yes.
because as I said, other than the deterrent phrases or verses of a person who defiles a virgin, I don't see any other biblical basis for dowry.
Okay.
So even we say the how, to me it should be a mutual agreement between parents of both sides.
Okay.
When your daughter is betrothed to my son, let us meet as two families. And we state our expectations,
Okay.
our beliefs. Are we Christians? What do we understand as Christians when it comes to issues of marriage? Which are the fundamentals that we are not willing to compromise?
Okay.
So once we agree, then the way will be smooth. The going will be smooth rather.
Yes.
But if we keep on borrowing the cultural norm to inform our Christian practices, I think we will not be becoming the salt and the light of the world.
Okay.
Because the salt is supposed to transform, but it is not supposed to conform.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think Reverend Minjira is now buying into what we are saying. That's the how.
Okay.
And just like I said, we are trying to remove the commercial aspect of dowry,
Yes.
so that at least it can be acceptable to our Christian African Christian. I will agree that the way that it is being done, I am also not for it,
Okay.
because of that commercial aspect. I will also not look at the amount of money that I've used to educate my daughters, or even try to look at how much is the other side able to pay, to determine how much I'm going to ask. And I want to concur with what he said, that if the two families meet before and they remove what you'd call the negotiators, because these negotiators are the whole problem, because they also want a cut from the same kind of dowry that is getting paid. So that way, I think we'll be able to get somewhere and to educate our viewers on the way to go.
Now, you are differing positions notwithstanding.
Yes.
At least we have a point of convergence.
Yes.
The way it's being done is not right.
Sure.
Yes, because greed, when greed comes in, you want more and more. And it beats the whole logic. Even what you was supposed to cement the union becomes distorted. And we must admit that when it comes to corruption, as Africans we are more corrupt than the West. Because you see, in many parts of the world, people who can loot the whole country is happening in the African context. Now, in the Kikuyu cultural practice, there was two scenarios. Either you are unable to get a lover because you are poor. So you could fail to get a wife because you have nothing. But you could be having nothing, but you have fallen in love with somebody's daughter. And nobody was denied the opportunity to marry because of lack of money or wealth. Because it was said, you go with
Something right.
just to show your goodwill. I'm willing to bring these goods when I have them. But now when it comes to you must bring one, you must bring this, you must bring that, or you are given a list. You go and read that list. When you come back, make sure you meet these conditions. Now, the distortion. But to Christians, they should be able to separate themselves from any form of greed.
Sure.
To an extent, even the language that is used. And I'm selling my daughter. No, please. Don't use that human being. No.
Yeah.
It is derogatory. It should not happen. It is, and you see, it meant the same.
Yeah, you're right.
In the cultural context. Because when there's a bride price, then you are selling your daughter. But to Christians who affirm the light of human beings, indelible light of human beings, so that language should never be there. Yes.
So now, gentlemen, in the interest of time, I want you to answer this question.
Yes.
As direct and as simple as you can. Because I've witnessed in this era, and sometimes as a Christian, I question some of these things. Should a young man who is paying dowry or even gifts or whatever, and is planning to go and face the parents of the bride-to-be, should they fundraise? Because it's happening nowadays. From a Christian standpoint, is it right for me to collect money from so and so? Or okay, probably collecting when I'm given is okay, but to solicit support so that you can go and pay dowry.
If I go first, this is what I'm calling commercialization of the whole thing. This is because why should I fundraise?
Okay.
If I'm fundraising, then I want to make the whole thing commercial. I want to raise money. Actually, I should just go as he said, say, here I come. This is what I have for now. If could be there is something to follow. Let me use his term. This is the gift that I've brought for now.
Yes.
And I know that for true Africans who have not been affected by these commercial aspects, nobody will deny you that. And he has said it very plainly. So what does that mean? That the way you come is how I accept you, but you should not fundraise. Actually, this is why I'm saying that we have taken it to a whole new level of commercialization, something that in this forum and for our viewers, we should educate them and tell them no. That is a plain no.
Okay.
You should not fundraise to go and take a dowry.
Yeah, I quite agree, because you want to portray yourself the way you are not. So you are not being genuine. But it can also be made easier by the parents of the bride. Because if the parents of the bride are not demanding anything, why should they fundraise? But now they are fundraising because they know
it will be asked.
It will be asked. So it is two-way. But probably the area of fundraising which may be justifiable is for preparation of the ceremony. But also we should also make it moderate so that you don't have to outstretch your resources.
Yes.
Or to fundraise so that you can do a big wedding to show people that you are well up when you are not. So it is a whole question of being genuine and being authentic.
Okay.
Accept yourself the way you are. This is what you can be able to afford. And that does not mean you cannot be more endowed in future. So I think once we inculcate in our young people that you should not mean yourself because you don't have material symbols to show who you are. I think they can relax and knowing that I'll go to this parent of this bride and they will give me their daughter unconditionally. I think we can remove that burden. Yes.
And I would say that actually, because this is an education forum, it is not only in the dowry that this whole issue of commercialization is. We see it cut across. And the other day you had the issue here of the redemption. This is also part of commercialization. We also have
Don't go back there.
we have many more that we can talk about, and this is why for me it is not the dowry that is the problem, but the how to do it. And commercial aspect of dowry is what needs to go. And I think my brother has now crossed the floor to agree with me that we just deal with the commercial bit of it and don't throw the baby with the bathwater. We need these cultural values. They are important.
They should be defined.
There was a point of convergence. That is
Yes.
not the agreement. That is
my point is,
Yes.
if we are to give gifts, not dowry,
Gifts.
we have to be informed by our faith,
Yes.
Yes.
because our faith is what is fundamental.
Yes.
Is the one we are not willing to compromise on.
Okay.
So that whoever young man comes to us, we plainly tell them we have nothing, we have no commodity for sale.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah? And also, the church should also devise a teaching on how to go about it,
Yes.
so that we don't leave it to a congregation to choose what they want to do.
The church is us. This is what we are
Yes.
Yes.
So we should come up with the acceptable Christian
Standard.
standard, which is informed by the Bible, by human rights, Christian culture.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you for your input. This topic cannot end here. We need to hear the views of other cultures, and we also need to hear the views from some women. And we are going to work into that and see what happens. So viewers, thank you for spending time with us and listening to us. And we hope that we are going to be gradually transformed to become better Christians, because we have to fight for our faith. The time has come that we have to have Christian apologetics, defenders of the faith, lest we drift from the true teachings of Christianity as we are trying to practice our day-to-day cultural issues. The Lord bless you. See you next week as we continue with Imani na Waumini. God bless.